Hi, I'm Rand Fishkin. I do marketing, entrepreneurship, and this is 11 Questions with me.
What's the most overrated AI marketing tactic right now?
Trying to measure your brand presence in large language models. It's pointless.
What's the most underrated AI marketing tactic no one's using yet?
No one is using. How about this? How about very few people are sending great data from reliable sources to their LLM and then prompting it with questions based on high quality data that is not generated by an LLM.
Interesting. So using something like Notion AI for internal documentation and then communicating to that?
No, more like exporting your ProfitWell results or your Stripe billing and then asking the LLM questions based on that real data. Or if you have audience research data from doing a bunch of interviews with your customers or from a platform like SparkToro or SimilarWeb or Datos or something, and then feeding that to ChatGPT and then asking your marketing related questions or getting hints and suggestions. It does way better when it's got great underlying data.
What's the best AI use case you've actually seen drive revenue?
I have seen a few companies intelligently use the APIs with Claude or ChatGPT or others to take, I would say, questions or prompts or information that users had to manually enter by hand and either automatically retrieve that based on data that they already have or allow people to use natural language to insert a prompt. So we started doing this at SparkToro, to be honest. We now accept natural language audience descriptions. People seem to love it. They're really using it well. We get some weird ones in there for sure, but most folks are pretty smart about it.
What's the worst AI use case you've seen pitched lately?
For some reason, people will not stop talking about using AI to replace writers, editors, creators, content. And Adam, I'm sure you know as well as I do, it's just awful. It's not only awful, it's obvious. And some of these AI bros think it's not obvious. It's just embarrassing.
It's very obvious, especially with the M dash. The M dash has become a meme.
I mean, I use M dash all the time because I
can't
always
use M dashes anymore. I'm not. Yeah. You're not allowed.
I don't care because I always use them. But yeah, for some people, the thing is, I've never written more humanly and messily than I do now, and that is to stand out from AI writing. I don't want to sound professional and polished and dignified and formal. I want to sound weird and interesting and like me.
What's the weirdest AI idea you didn't expect to work but did?
I have seen people get a tremendous amount of press and media coverage for doing dumb stuff with AI. And I'm not sure if it's intentional, but I think some of it is. And it always surprises me how credulous the media remains, whether we're talking about technology media or pop culture media or politics media. I'm always shocked, like, really? We're going to spend a whole day of the news cycle and 15,000 stories, on memorandum talking about a post from Pete Hegseth that used, AI in a dumb way. Seems like there's more interesting policy things happening in the United States, but okay.
Apparently not. Apparently not. If I wanted my brand name in AI in 30 days, what would be the 3 top moves you would use?
Do you want to spam or do you want to do it legit?
Do it legit. Always legit.
It's weird. Most people say spam. The best thing you can do is do something that is extremely media worthy and social media worthy. So if there is a thing that your brand or company can do that will get a tremendous amount of attention from, I would say, niche media, social media, blogs, email newsletters like on Substack and Beehive and those kinds of places, LinkedIn posts from people talking about it, YouTube videos about it, people inviting you on their podcast, having you on their webinar, inviting you to their conference. Every single one of those mentions of your brand will usually use the words that your company says you're about. So for example, if I say SparkToro is an audience research tool, or if I say SparkToro is audience research software. People will just repeat that. And those repetitions make their way into the large language model. The LLMs, as you well know, favor recency. And so even if somebody else has an audience research tool that's been mentioned way more in the last 5 years, if we get mentioned a lot in the next 30 days, the LLMs will almost always include us in their answers when people ask for, that particular product audience research tools.
Interesting. So in an ironic twist of fate, when all the writers thought they were about to die, they're now becoming one of the most important marketing tools again.
I mean, you can see, right, whenever people talk about AI taking jobs, what's really happening is outsourcing is taking jobs and AI is used as an excuse. So if you dig into any of which I think the Yale study did a really good job of this, right? They looked at every tech company that announced, or insurance company or medical company, right? Every company that announced massive layoffs because of AI. And then they looked at their contractors and their part-time employees and where their full-time employees were started to be employed. And it was essentially just, they hired just as many or more people, but from not the United States.
Yeah. And they're just giving them large language models with data that they can then use to...
Which is what all of us do, right? Like we all, hopefully all of us are intelligently using the tools at our disposal, whether that's Microsoft Excel or Word or ChatGPT, right? Doesn't matter.
I want to play a game with you, overrated or underrated, and I'm going to say a few different things and you just hit me with what you think. So
why not?
Overrated or underrated Reddit seeding?
Underrated.
Overrated or underrated LinkedIn as an organic marketing channel?
Underrated.
Being cited by journalists?
Underrated.
Brand search as a KPI?
Ooh, correctly rated. Neither under nor over. It's right in the middle. Rated.
Sponsored AI answers as a paid marketing channel?
Oh my God, are people doing that? If so, overrated.
Perplexity has it as an option.
That's right. Yeah, I forgot about them. Yeah. Their usage chart is not looking great.
It's not great. And my last one for you is overrated or underrated starting a newsletter in 2025?
Ooh, as a first thing you do for marketing, overrated. As a step that you should take as part of a marketing campaign when you've already got some traction and reasons to do so, probably underrated.
Okay. So if you were starting a business today, say an agency or an e-commerce brand, what would be the first step you would take in marketing, tapping into AI?
I would not tap into AI. I would figure out the answer to 3 questions. 1, where is my audience paying attention, and to whom, to what, right? So this audience is really into email newsletters, or they listen to a lot of podcasts, or YouTube shorts are huge with this audience, or they're really heavily on TikTok, strongly influenced by Instagram. Whatever the platforms are, the channels, that could be, they're on none of those things, but they do walk down the streets of Brooklyn. And so an outdoor campaign, in Park Slope is probably going to work really well. Great. Like I'm with you on that. Once you figure out the channels and places that audience pays attention, your next step is figuring out what you're great at. Like what are you personally passionate about that intersects with those things? So if you're like, God, I hate Instagram, my audience is on there, but it just bleeds the life out of me. Well, don't prioritize it. You know what? Audiences are big. You're starting a new company. You don't need 1 billion users tomorrow, right? Pick something else. If you're like, hey, I'm really good at Threads, or I'm great at Blue Sky, or LinkedIn's good for me. Maybe less of my audience is on there, but I'm going to use it. Great. Like do that. A blog, a newsletter, a YouTube channel. Like I don't care. Pick the thing that you are personally passionate and good at. And then the third one is do something with that platform, that channel, that tactic that is creating unique value for the audience. Not value, unique value, meaning differentiated from what your competitors, doesn't have to be direct competitors, but like what anybody else on that platform is offering. This combination of 3 things works extremely well that's what you should do first in marketing. Everyone I've seen sort of answer those correctly, they get off to a strong start.
What's a content format you think is overpriced?
I have been wondering whether we're at the peak or even coming down from the peak of short form video. I think there might be such a glut of it, and it's so hard to stand out. 5 years ago, 6 years ago, you could make some mediocre stuff and do pretty well. Today, you can make really, truly great stuff and not get anywhere.
Yeah. What's the best piece of advice you've received and actually used in relation to marketing?
A friend of mine, Asia Arangio, runs a company called Demand Maven, and she helps SaaS founders like myself, software as a service, founders to identify the problems in their product and improve those. And Adam, one thing that's crazy to me is that many marketers and many founders and CEOs believe they have a marketing problem when what they actually have is a product problem. Improving our product has had the biggest effect on our marketing I have ever seen. It's kind of embarrassing to say, right? Because I'm a marketer. And so, I think about everything. I have this one hammer. It's a marketing hammer. And so every problem to me is a nail, a marketing nail. and I just want to beat that. But in fact, improving your product, making it more effective, faster, better, more enjoyable, more worthy of sharing, more worthy of being talked about, that is the best advice that I have received. And Asia did a wonderful job basically interviewing like our customers and then turning that into actionable recommendations that as soon as we put in place, like you can see the ProfitWell numbers like turn around.
Got it. Switching gears to a couple of general things. What is the nicest thing somebody's done for you?
My God. I mean, okay, first off, I love this question. I wish we should do a whole podcast about the nicest things people have done for people. I just think that's such a sweet idea. This is probably not the nicest thing, but it's one of the nicest things that someone has done for me. So my grandfather, Seymour, is 97 years old. He's about to be 98. He's still in great health. He's sharp as a tack. And he lives about 25 minutes away from me. So for his birthday, his 96th birthday, I wanted to take him out and do something special with him. And my buddy Andrew runs a bar here in Seattle called The Doctor's Office. Or he's one of the founding bartenders at this bar. And so I was like, Papa, let's go to the doctor's office together. And he said, I went to the doctor's office last week. I'm like, no, it's a different doctor's office, better doctor's office. So we go to the doctor's office. Andrew is bartending there that night. It's a small bar, like 12 seats. You got to make a reservation before you go. Very, very fun. And we get in there. My grandfather orders a Southern Comfort sour. And Andrew says to him, Seymour, I'm not going to serve you that. And my grandfather says, why not? Andrew goes, well, when was the last time you had Southern Comfort? And my grandfather tells him that it was probably sometime in the 1970s. And Andrew goes, yeah, exactly. In the I can't remember, late 70s, early 80s, some big conglomerate buys Southern Comfort and turns the bourbon to, in Andrew's words, dog shit. Like, it's just terrible now. And so, okay, whatever, like my grandfather gets something else. And then Andrew and the guy who owns the bar pull out, they love to do this. If it's your first time visiting, like if you ever come to Seattle, you should totally go to this. If it's your first time visiting, they like to serve you something older than you are, which, I don't know how old you are, but my suspicion is wouldn't be that challenging for you. It's not that challenging for me. Like I'm 46, so like it's hard. You got to find something that's pretty old. For my grandfather, they went and they found a pre-World War I bottle of French Armagnac. And they brought it to the bar, and I don't know how much it cost. Like they lost so much money on his visit, right? But they bring out this bottle. Andrew proceeds to perform surgery on the top of the bottle to get the cork out, right? Because otherwise it'll fall in there, and it's obviously rotted from being more than 100 years old. And they serve some to everybody at the bar, and it's this whole sweet adventure, like just awesome. A year later, we go back to the bar. I don't tell Andrew that we're booking anything. Like I just made a reservation online, but we show up just on a random Tuesday night. Andrew's bartending. My grandfather comes in, he orders a drink, and Andrew says, "I'm not serving you that." And Seymour's like, "What is this? What, a ritual with you?" I told you what I wanted. And Andrew comes back with a 1971 bottle of Southern Comfort. Because he and the owner remembered and hoped that my grandfather would come back to the bar and that he could serve him the drink that he wanted. It was just, that degree of service, that kind of memory and care. It's a product that, I want to tell everyone this story. Like, it's just so amazing.
Yeah. No, I love that a lot. And you'll keep that for the rest of your life.
Absolutely. I mean, that's that kind of friendship.
That's good marketing.
How do you find that, right? Like someone who loves you so much, he'll do that for your grandpa. Oh my God.
Yeah. Yeah. And it's amazing marketing.
That too.
Brilliant. Nice one, man. Well, all right. I'll see you on the other side.
All right.